Welcome to the Texas Real Estate Radio Network with Mr. Texas Real Estate Jason Bible and Mr. California Investor Robert Orfino. Join us as Jason and Robert talk about the hottest real estate market in the country, the entire state of Texas. Learn why Texas is such a great market to invest in and why it could be strong for years to come. Get ready to talk all things Texas on your new home or to the office. Texas Real Estate Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is Robert and Jason in studio, Mr. Texas Real Estate. We're joined today by our good friend Alex from over at Jet Lending, also our EXP sponsor. So we'll talk a little EXP. We'll talk a little money today. Tell the world hello, Alex.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Very good. Very, very good. So we'll be talking money today. We'll obviously be talking a lot of stuff. But I'm still burnt from Battery Day. I'm still watching that stock slide, and I'm like, do you not get he just changed the world?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys have got to understand something. The stock market is full of morons.
Yes.
That's the problem with they don't when you really look. Okay, look, this is how you used to do stuff before 2001. You used to look at something called surplus.
Mm-hmm.
And in a finance, surplus means profit. It means excess cash flow, meaning you actually make real money.
Yes.
Now, there are some companies that you've got to look at forward-looking. Tesla is one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff they've got going on. So it's much more speculative than anything else in the stock market. However, you've got to realize it's 2020. And all that stuff I learned in business school, how you evaluate equities, is completely out the window.
Right.
So that's why I keep telling folks, look, invest in whatever you want up to the match at your company. Back me personally, I just invested in an index and move on. Because none of it makes sense. It's all this, you got to remember, Tesla's almost like Apple, right? If there's not lines out the doors because we got pretty colors
right,
and pretty looking cars, they just don't sell. So they look at it almost like a retail company, like, oh, well, Battery Day wasn't that great because they didn't come out with a purple, Model 3. And it's just ignore all that nonsense. When he goes on Joe Rogan, smokes a blunt,
mm-hmm.
and the stock drops 6%. It's like, what is that? That doesn't have to do with anything, right? All of a sudden, he's not going to be a genius overnight. I mean, come on. So it's all moronic stuff. It is as bad as, like, if you're watching any of the business channels, like Kramer stuff and all that, it's as bad as watching SportsCenter all day. Like that, it's.
I agree.
All it is content to put out there, to talk about, to get your eyeballs, to clicks, to all that. It has nothing to do with real information, real investing.
What's really scary is that we now, forget us and talk to our avatar, 50-year-old engineer, Exxon, BP, doing really well. 401k's popping. He sits in on a Quest meeting per chance and says, okay, I'm going to do some self-directed. He has now an opportunity to move his money into real estate, tangible stuff, or he can leave the craziness is he can leave his money in the market. And I'm now seeing bandit signs that says day trading, $20,000 a month, call this number. And I'm like, is that where I want to park my money, in that world where we now have bandit signs at intersections telling people they can make $20,000? This is like coming into real estate and only investing in wholesalers.
Right. I can tell you right now, out of all of the properties I've held, buy and hold, I've never lost money on one. Not one.
On the holds, yeah.
On the holds, right? Which is actually how you're not really supposed to be doing day trading. You're not supposed to be in the derivatives market because most guys can't even do the math on a derivative. So you shouldn't be doing them at all. But and that's what they start getting this options trading. I'm like, if you can't do options math, if you can't do Black-Scholes if you've never heard of Black-Scholes, by the way, they won a Nobel Prize, Black-Scholes Merton. So if you've never heard of that before, you should probably not be doing any kind of day trading. So and here it is. Here's the problem, right? You've got all this money. You've spent all this. You spent a lifetime. You're 50 years old, 55, 60. You spent a lifetime saving money, investing wisely, and now you're going to continue to play this casino game
Right.
Which now it's become blatantly apparent that it's all completely rigged.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was amazing when Ginnie Mae came out yesterday and basically said, all right, we're not tying any of our ARM products, our adjustable rate mortgages, to LIBOR. And I'm like, welcome to 10 years ago, Ginnie Mae. We knew LIBOR was manipulated 10 years ago. In fact, we know the gold market is manipulated now. I mean, you know from the science alone that it doesn't, the way it moves doesn't make sense.
Sure.
So the idea that I'm going to go put my family's fortune or my fortune into the stock market doesn't make any sense. Now, will I have 10%, 15% up to my company's match? If my company does that, that's okay. But the rest of it needs to go into something that makes sense. You worked really hard for that money, and you can't risk it in the stock market. And I'd argue the returns are not that great, but then when you measure the returns against the risk, the stock market makes no sense at all.
Well, so I went down that rabbit hole last night. It's another late night, right? So
I wonder why you came in a little slow this morning.
I'm looking at that sign at that intersection, and I'm like, what the hell? It just, usually I'm like, okay, I'll sell us your house, or have a house, or, 1,000 thread sheets, right? Or mattresses, or, now it's day trading. I'm like, really? So I went online, I went down that rabbit hole.
Oh, jeez.
And I just like, who are these gurus? And it's all gurus. It's real estate gurus 10 times sleazier.
Oh, they're way sleazier.
Way sleazier. And it's all margin.
Yes.
You just got to put in like $5-10 grand, and they can leverage that. And then all of a sudden you're trading $50,000-$60,000 in day one.
So let me explain a little bit about trading on margin. So they're just recently came out an update. I can't remember who it was, which big brokerage it is. They increased their margin requirements to almost 40%. So the industry is recognizing there's all these amateurs that are getting into it, and the brokerage houses don't want to be on these margin calls. So let's explain what a margin call is. This is like flipping houses in mere minutes. So if you make a bad call, your broker comes for your cash immediately and will liquidate your account.
Yes.
So personally, I'd rather just play poker or blackjack because at least that actually makes some sense.
Yes, you could go up and go down. I mean, that was news story was out like 2 years ago, right? The college kid who lost $60,000 day trading in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
and it was his dad's money, and he's sitting there and he's crying on the internet, and it's like, good for you, you bastard. That's what happens.
No, who's the guy that owns was that Bleacher Sports or whatever it is, and he turned into a day trader. And I'm loving watching his videos on Twitter when he's having to make margin calls. Like, you're an idiot. What do you do? Oh, because you made a couple of good bets and you made a little bit of money, now you think you're a genius. Like, get off the internet.
And that's exactly what it is. It's bets.
All it is is bets. It's bets. And people don't realize is those trades, they're designed for the professionals to offset risk. That's really what's going on there. Given the amount of the portfolio that liquidates in a daily basis, it's like sweep accounts at a bank. That's all it is, right? But then they get into the trading aspect. That's a way to make a living. I'm like, it's ridiculous.
So by 1:30 last night, 1:30 this morning.
You were up till 1:30?
Yeah, I came to the conclusion that I cannot possibly be competing for investor dollars with these people. This is crazy.
It's absurd.
Unbelievable. And I'm like, oh, well, a whole bunch of people got to go down the same rabbit hole as I did to figure out that real estate is a much better investment.
No, here's the deal. You know who makes $20,000 a month? A doctor who has a decade's worth of experience and all that. You see a bandit sign, and now all of a sudden you can make $20,000 a month day trading. All right, when we get to the back, when we get back from the break, we might actually talk to Alex.
There's all these gurus out there. Oh my God!
Remember that when I met you in SoCal for one of your events, and there was a day trading guy next to it? I walked in, I was like, "What is this shit show?" And I walked in, and I don't think I'd seen you yet. And I'm like, "This is surely not Rob." All these guys are in suits and stuff. I'm like, "This isn't Rob's event." I turned around and walked around the corner.
Well, you know what they're doing. They know that from their jobs. These people think they at least, I feel I understand the stock market.
Right.
I've heard of it. They have no idea except for the house that they bought.
Right.
And real estate's nervous shit for them. They grab them on everybody's afraid of the unknown.
Right.
They really don't know this market. So they're like, but You have your money in stock market.
You've had your market.
You
You're in the
should
market.
control it.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
You got no idea what
This
you're
guy
doing.
literally said, you can't lose.
Oh, bullshit.
I'm like, what?
Whoa.
You can always lose.
Yeah.
You can-
Of course.
Well, you know what? He might be right in the fact that if you can't lose, you also can't win.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
like-
can always protect your money.
That's like that guy's like, we got to play the lottery. You don't play the lottery, you can't win.
Yeah. All right, Rob, I want to go back over that point when you said one of these stock market day trading gurus. By the way, just anybody listening to this, we are bookmarked, if you will, between two day trading shows on a couple of networks. So it's about to get interesting because I already know the emails I'm going to get. So what I think so fascinating is you said one of these guys said, well, you can't lose.
Right.
When someone says to me, Jason, this is such a great deal, you can't lose, my immediate thought is, then I can't win either.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the natural yin and yang of this thing. Now, the idea is to sit down and say, can we win? Yes. Can we lose? Absolutely. But how do we reduce the likelihood of a loss? That's what a real professional investor does. We could go out and Rob, we can go out and flip Teslas, I guess, if we wanted to. Buy them used. We could go flip buildings. We could go invest in whatever, right?
Boats.
And boats. The real question is, how do we reduce the likelihood of losses based off of what? Our experience and market position.
Right.
So if there's no discussion of risk, like the next sentence out of somebody's mouth, you know they're not a professional investor. And I think that's one of the things that you guys, Alex, over at Jet do really well is say, you get an investor comes in and says, hey, I got a deal. And you guys are the money guys and go and say, okay, well, here are the risks here. Let's get an appraisal. Let's do an inspection, that sort of thing. Here's all the risk and here's how we're going to manage that throughout the rehab and refinance process.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. I mean, so basically, I mean, that's what a good partner, the good lender does. I'm going to evaluate the market and say, listen, we've done about 3,000 of these. The owner of the company's done 1,800 himself.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the market is right now. This is what happened in the past. This is what's trending. Here's your relative risk. Are you okay with your business plan on these risks to do this deal at these margins? Do you want to move forward? Because we close so quickly, you need someone backing you up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's basically what you're supposed to do.
Rob tells this story all the time. The best deal he ever did is the one that Johnny called him, who's one of the principals over at Jet, and said, hey, man, you sure you want to do this deal? Because I don't think this house is going to sell for what this appraisal says.
Appraisal came back at 4.25. We were all doing backflips, the three partners, because we thought it was going to be 390. So we're like, oh, my God, so much better. And we were buying for like 200, 210. We put 100,000 in, so we were like,
you're in for like 310.
310 on 425. Like that's a big spread, 74%.
Yeah, almost 30%, making 110 G's on the exit.
Or exit. And then Johnny called and said, hey, we know Galveston, and we know that block specifically, and we know where the appraiser got his numbers from. We don't believe that block will sell at the 4.25.
Mm.
And so we're not going to do the deal. And I went back to my group and said, hey, the deal's off. We're not going to do it. They went ahead and found another lender.
And dropped you as a partner.
Dropped me. I walked away. I'm like,
okay,
hey, he said the number's 365. That's the ERP.
Here's a guy that said 2,000 houses. He says it's not going to work. Guess what?
Yeah.
I'm getting some free, expensive free advice here.
I say if we make the numbers work at 350, then great. Let's do it. Because he said the number's 365. He said that's probably what you're going to get. And they stuck to it, and I walked away. And last I heard, those two partners suing each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, and to this day, how experienced Rob and Jason are, we had another evaluation.
Yeah.
And the three of us separately, we do it separately to see if we got the same stuff. And we're like, man, they're gonna do so well on this.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Give it to them.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it doesn't even matter if you come in seasoned or unseasoned. We are digging into this to make sure, A, we don't get it back.
Yeah.
And B, you're successful, because when you're successful, you're going to buy something else.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna And you talked about, being a professional. And I think when in real estate investing, what we do, even on the flip sides, I won't call wholesaling, but even on the flip sides, well, even a wholesaling world, you're going to talk to professionals like Tim Luna just joined our mastermind, right? Clearly a professional, right? He knows when he should listen to people with more experience and when he should not listen to fools.
So that's a really good point.
That's experience.
Experience is taking in the right information, right? I see this at real estate events all the time, and this is another, telltale sign of someone who doesn't know what they're doing when they run up to you and like, oh, Jay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I'm like, where did you hear this from? Oh, I got a friend of mine I just met, and they're a new investor. And I'm like, whoa, this is real. I love like all the lease option trust, whatever guys, because they start just explaining this legal framework to me. And I go, whoa, hold on a second. I said, hey, I don't even understand that. And they're like, well, let me explain it to you. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Rob and I have done over 1,000 properties at this point. And I'm like, if we don't understand it and you do, and you've never done any of this, that should be a huge red flag. Like the guys have done this a whole lot. And I'm like, I don't understand what all that means. It sounds like a lot of paperwork, and I don't get it.
I have a good friend of mine up in New Jersey, and he is a real estate attorney, but he's on the litigating side.
Oh,
like he goes to court every single day to dispute contracts, blah blah blah. And he said, Rob, here's what I know about lease options. As clever as you want to make it sound, you sit in front of a judge, it has to pass the sniff test. If it sounds like you're a landlord who just doesn't want to pay for repairs, then you're going to be treated as a landlord and you're going to have to pay for those repairs. He said, don't do lease options in this state. Told me straight up, don't do it, Rob. You do rap.
Yeah, just do it.
You can do rap, but don't do this lease option where you think you're going to get the property back in 5 years, playing all these games. He's like, I don't think there's a judge in the state of New Jersey that is going to uphold your contract.
Well, what's funny is somebody will say, well, Jason, that's New Jersey. Rob, that's New Jersey. I'm like, those same judges are here in Texas.
That's a blue state. Can you imagine coming to a red state and trying to get that passed?
Well, look at it this way. The major metropolitans are all blue state judges, right? Yeah. Like Harris County is it's all blue, right? But let's really be honest what you're trying to do. You're just trying to sucker some poor young Hispanic family out.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what's going on there.
It is, and if you go back to your college literature days, it literally, no pun intended, is Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. It's the same thing.
Crap. Yeah.
Taking advantage of immigrants.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you set them up with the owner finance?
Sure.
And then let's report those payments to the credit bureau.
Right.
And then they refi in the future, right? Like, this is what sickens me to death, is it's like, because I hear this all the time in the owner finance space. I'm like, look, guys, why don't you report it to a servicing company? They don't have any credit. Mm-hmm. And they're immigrants to this country. Let's get them a credit profile.
Right. That's how you're going to get them the refi.
I saw I got to find the video, a great video on the difference between why Black Americans have a lower percentage of household wealth than a number of other races. In part, it had to do with how quickly they could buy a single family house. It was a really good analysis. The guy went through it in like 3 minutes. So when you look at immigrants coming to this country, how they set up the next generation is not only through businesses, but through the acquisition of that single family house. As it creates value, as they're able to refinance that and use money for college, they're able to access cheaper cost of capital. It was a really great set up. It set up entire families, especially through the 40s and 50s, being successful in the future through the leveraging power of a single family house.
Not just that single family house.
That's right. Yeah. So it's not like they didn't have to buy 100. They just bought this one house, cheap capital, they were able to refinance, put kids in school, start a business, all that sort of stuff. So when I hear this, we're going to owner finance it, and we'll just take it back, and we're going to be really, it's like, whoa, what? Let's see if we can get them refinanced out so we can get them a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at a really low rate, and they can use that capital to go do something else. So yeah, I agree. When you get into the lease option stuff, the real shady owner finance, I'm like, I'm out. Like, this doesn't fit. I'm all about making tons of money, but I'm like, we're not screwing society at the same time.
All right. Hey, we'll be back.
Hey, now you're usually in that deal for 6 years. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and then they refinance out, and they got a slew of other people that need homes too.
Well, and we found with a lot of the Hispanic families that we work with is a lot of times they owner finance it, and then they just pay us off in like 5 or 6 years. Cash, yeah. Yeah, they're like, I don't want this debt. I'm just going to pay cash. I don't trust banks. That's what they'd always tell us. I don't trust banks.
Yeah. Well, why would you come from Central America?
Yeah,
Bank
exactly.
disappears overnight. Same thing.
If you can't sleep at night about how you're making money, don't do it that way.
Right.
Well, a lot of these guys don't care.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
They pop enough pills, they can sleep just fine.
1:30,
huh?
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe it.
I was up at 4 today.
Oh.
I was telling him, I was like, so I was in the parking lot like a jerk.
You texted me and I was like, did we say 7 or did we say 8?
Well, it's like, I was like, where am I going to, because I'm redoing my house. So
Got
I'm
it.
staying at my in-laws, so I don't have anything I
yeah.
can do. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I guess I'll
You
just
should have been here
knock
at 6.
It's like,
Yeah, I didn't get home till 2. I didn't get home till 2 in the morning. I left at 4.
Ready when you are.
Oh, that explains a lot. So there's all these text messages going back and forth this morning, and I've got this nightstand that I absolutely hate in the house. And the problem is it's so small, but it's so light. So when the little Roomba runs around, it moves the nightstand. So this morning I literally did this. I hear this like ding, ding, ding. And so I look over and I look at my phone, one eye open. I was like, all right, we're getting ready. And I literally do this, just drop the phone right on the floor. I didn't even bother to pick it up. And then I keep hearing like more text messages, and I'm like, I'll get up in a minute. I hate that nightstand. Anyway, so that's one of our Airbnb nightstands, by the way. So the vacuum does push the thing around. If it's on wood, if it's on carpet, it's probably not a big deal.
That's light.
It is. Yeah. We buy, most of our furniture is pretty good, but some of the stuff is kind of disposable because we've had stuff
they'll keep breaking.
Yeah.
Coffee tables break all the time.
Coffee tables are, which is fun. Now this is, all right, let's talk about Airbnb. Because I know there's somebody out there and they're getting all keyed up on Airbnb.
Oh.
Yes, people break stuff, but you know what happens?
Why would you do it?
You charge them for it.
Yeah, right.
Problem solved.
we shoot at the Amazon link and say, I'm charging this.
Yeah, I'm charging you this plus 10% for my Jason has to build it fee.
Pain and suffering.
Yeah, pain and suffering. Yes. We lost we had somebody that had they didn't have a party. It was just like 4 or 5 of them, I think. Got a little high, got a little drunk, whatever. And they tore up some of our artwork. I use that in quotes because we get the artwork for about $10 a piece.
Right.
But it was funny. I was thinking about, could we charge them back and say, oh my gosh, that was a
priceless.
really rare, priceless. It's like hotel art.
Yeah.
We get like when the hotel goes through the refurb, we get the old hotel art. Yeah. And it's huge, right? I think the frame's worth more than the whole thing. But anyway, so back on topic here. Speaking of Airbnb, do you guys do much? Do y'all do any kind of Airbnb lending, or how do y'all do it?
So 2 different ways. A lot of the people, actually I should say a lot, but it's about 50-50 split. They'll either pick it up at a discount and fix it up. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you have to be understanding if you are going to be an Airbnb guy or gal, you have to repair these properties like you're flipping them. They have to be very nice. Yeah. Exactly. High level. You cannot do rent-ready stuff on the Airbnb.
No.
Right.
You can. You shouldn't. So if you get this at a discount and you're repairing them, you do short-term loan, you're in and out, budget maybe $7,500 a week on repairs and know what your holding costs are, and then you refinance it either on a 30-year fixed or a non-QM product. If you are a bankable person, go to your regional banks and do it that way. Open up a portfolio, start a relationship with your local people. Yes. There's all sorts of ways to do it. Your non-QM stuff is going to be higher interest rate, like anywhere from the 6s to the 7s.
Mm-hmm. So non-QM is a nice way to say not government-backed loans, right? These are non-QM is commercial loans,
right? So
that's a commercial loan. It's not like a Fannie or Freddie loan.
If you want to think of it, think of non-QM or non-qualified mortgage loans as long-term asset-based lending or hard lending. The rates are higher, but it's very easy to get.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and every property stands alone. So if you have 20 properties, you can have 20 non-QM loans.
Yeah.
If you're doing Freddie Fannie stuff, you're capped at your 9 plus your homestead. It gets increasingly harder after 6.
Yeah.
So there's one of the things we'll do is we'll work on strategy. Are you going on non-QM? Are you going for Freddie Fannie and then portfolio laying out 9 rentals like that. So yes, we help them do it, but let us talk you through about how you're trying to present your business so we can tell you what we think is the right way. Sometimes it's us and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. It's that's it's a good point. Everyone thinks that, oh yeah, you guys are going to take all the business, right? Like and it's like, whoa, that's not how real business works. There's some business you take and some that's like, hey, that's not for us, right?
Right.
Like, I think when we had started in Corpus, you guys weren't doing stuff in Corpus yet. So it's like, well, that's not really for us right now. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Although I think that might be changing. You guys do stuff?
We do. We do in Corpus.
Okay.
Because the thing is, it would have been
because we drug you guys down there.
Could you listen to the show? Right?
Well, it would have been a disservice to you because we were used to it. So now, we've educated ourselves in the market. We have full MLS access.
Nice.
In fact, you guys, with your success, helped us do the research, saying, you know what? After seeing these case studies, we understand that market.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can help people.
Mm-hmm.
Why get into a lending business where A, you're not helping anybody, and B, you're putting yourself at risk? And now we can do both. We can help people and be at lower risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
we the takeout is always a challenge, and but it's getting a lot easier on the Airbnb side. We found one non-QM; they're just too high, and then we found two. We found a local bank that'll do it individually or into a portfolio, and then another portfolio manager will do it. So the portfolio is around 5.5%, and the local banks are going to be just 5 or sub 5, 4.85 or 5. So to get on the exit on those, that the non-QM is easy because it's just quick. Right. It's really the same qualifications as you would with hard money versus what I like to call the financial colonoscopy of a local bank or these portfolios where they want everything. Right. And I tell the story. I had a local bank down in Corpus. I had a private investigator call me and said, hey, you listed all these LLCs, but I found 3 other LLCs that you did not list. We want to know what the issue is. And I said, the issue is it costs more money to shut an LLC down in California than it does to start it. So I'm just letting it die on the vine as the advice from my accountant. Oh. Yeah. But, there was full – they want to know everything about you and then even more. So –
and then think of the strategy aspect of what you're doing on the non-QM stuff as well. It doesn't mean you have to hold it for 30 years.
No, 5 years,
and then refinance it up like portfolio.
To draw this right back into trading, because there's all these day traders listening to the show right now. A 30-year mortgage is like a 30-year option on a piece of real estate. That's really what it is. When you go out and buy, it's an option, and if you're doing a buy and hold, it's an option that's you. Because the reality is where real wealth is built in real estate is the appreciation. It's not what it's worth today. It's what it's worth 5 years from now. And if you're in a market like we are, like our fund is, we're buying properties in Corpus that are appreciating at a minimum 20% a year, it makes a lot of sense. I go buy something, it produces a little cash, but it's appreciating 20% a year. And people always ask me, Jason, will that appreciation stop? And I'm like, at some point, way in the future. But until we can start building affordable houses again, not likely, it will continue in damn near perpetuity. Yeah. So there's just not enough houses anymore, running out of supply. So that's causing huge pricing pressure in Texas on existing inventory. And guys like Elon are not helping out with that, moving their manufacturing facilities here. Plus all the support services, right? They're building all that stuff in Corpus Christi. They're building some stuff here in Houston, some in Austin to support Tesla and SpaceX. So it's just going to become more expensive in these markets. So now is the time. If you are waiting, the best time to get into real estate today, better time to be today, and you're like tomorrow is a adequate time to get in. It's like you've got to get in now because like we've done the math. If a house, it's a $200,000 house is appreciating 20%, that's $40,000 a year. It's like $3,000 a month, right? Which is crazy. Every house you're not buying, you're losing $3,000 a month.
Yeah, you should see the loans we do in Austin are ridiculous.
I bet.
They're just so. The price housing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see it, but there it is.
And it's only going to get worse. That Southeast Austin corridor where Elon's putting his new facility in. It's gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just for grins, when they announced it, hey, we're buying this, I immediately went to HAR, and over the next couple of days, I watched land.
Mm-hmm.
Big plots of land. Just something that was on the market 400 days, all of a sudden, contract. They were buying as much up around there as they could. So that's what's going to happen to single family. Just get ready.
Hey, we'll be back. Robert, Jason, our friend Alex here in the studio. We'll be back. Right back.
Very smooth.
The smooth jazz.
This is a song from Community. I don't know if you watch Community. It's one of my favorite shows.
No, I haven't.
This is so I love Community so much that it's one of those things where I just as soon as I come on, I just put it on. I don't care if I've seen the episode or not. I just let it run in the background.
I have a 6 and 4-year-old. I'm up to date on
Oh, yeah.
and that kind of
Blue's Clues.
Yeah. Apparently the dog keeps trying to find Blues.
And he found any. Blue's kind of a dumbass. He just hadn't figured it out.
The dog's like, it's great.
It's right there. Oh, yeah, he goes, and then what's the guy's name that wears that green shirt? He goes, is it there, Blue?
The dog's like,
Ready to go?
Yeah, go.
I heard Blue from Blue's Clues is now teaching options trading class.
Yes, that's his bandit sign.
That's his band.
but he doesn't know where it's at.
That's right. And see, that guy with the striped green shirt has to be there. He goes, all right, so we brought Blue in today, and Blue's an options trader. What did you say, Blue? Buy Tesla at $625? Shorted?
Is it over here?
Is it over here? Yeah, that's right. Alex has a 4 and a 6-year-old at home, so he's learning all about Blue's Clues and everything else. Have you memorized Goodnight Moon yet?
Oh, yeah, but that was before the kids, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was it. You know, I get this. Brian and I. Yeah, it was for Eddie. By request. Hey, man, can you come in here and read me Goodnight Moon? So one day, yeah, okay. So Brian and I have this thing about first edition. It's like we've been he's got a way bigger collection than I do. He's been doing it a lot longer. But of like motivational books, like I'd love to have Millionaire Next Door, the first edition, right? Kiyosaki's book, I think was, even though I don't like Kiyosaki, I think it was a self-print, like 5,000, the first 5,000 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. But I'd love to get a couple of these things. Anyways, I've got the one from Benjamin Graham, The Intelligent Investor. It's the first print. And anyway, so I'm sitting there, and this was years ago, and I'm reading Goodnight Moon to one of the boys. And I was like, you know what? I wonder what a first edition Goodnight Moon is. Because you got to think, children's books get destroyed, right? And I found them on eBay. They're crazy expensive because there's just not a whole lot of them. So if you guys are not familiar with this Pulitzer Prize winning work, I highly recommend a thorough read of Goodnight Moon if you've not done so.
Well, we spent a whole hour talking about just about everything, but we haven't even mentioned jet lending. So why don't you just give us good information on jet? How do folks get a hold of you? I know you've got a deal analyzer that you'll send out to folks, which is a really powerful tool. So why don't you just go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks. I mean,
Sure.
So jet lending, we've been around since January 2004. So we've seen every dip and spike in the market that you can think of. So, I mean, basically what we do is we help people buy investment real estate, so no owner-occupied stuff. And so what we'll do is you got it under contract, you don't have it under contract, you're just following something, you send us some of the information, purchase price, ideas on repairs, probably what you're thinking the ARV is. If you got any pictures, will help. And what we'll do is we'll actually analyze the market for you. And within 20 hours, we'll actually say, hey, listen, doesn't mean we're right, doesn't mean we're wrong, but this is what we're seeing in the market today on average. This is what your loan would look like if these numbers came true. If you ordered a appraisal today, does this meet your expectations on your business plan? Would you like to move forward since we closed 3 days from clear to close from title and appraisal reported? So we back you up. So if you say, hey, Alex, I need to make at least 20 grand on this flip, I'll pull up an analyzer and I'll say, listen, withholding costs, utilities, paying for agents, all in money. If you're coming out of pocket at closing, because with us, you don't have to come out of pocket to closing if you buy it. I'll tell you that in a second. Your projected X, does that meet your expectations for your business plan? It's all brought upon you. Does this make sense for you? And we're a true loan to value lender. What that means is we don't have a loan to cost aspect. So what we do on the short term stuff. So what we do is we lend up to 70% of the actual repaired value. We'll minus repairs at closing, and we'll fund that difference at closing. So what that means is a good rule of thumb. It's not perfect, but if you buy something 65% ARV minus repairs top purchase price, that means I can roll in all your costs. That's your origination, your title fees, all that kind of stuff. So you can, when you hear buy real estate with no money down, that's what they're talking about. You still have to have capital to your, access to, but that's how you come zero out of pocket down.
So I'm gonna go a little inside baseball here.
Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
So when you offer a loan of value product, that means that you are also bringing your own money to the deal.
Correct.
So you're investing in the deal along with wherever your sugar daddy is. So you've got to you're putting your own money into this deal. So you're analyzing the deal like, hey, am I going to make money on this deal? Am I going to have trouble with this money?
Right.
Versus other lenders out there that are not putting their own money on, and they're only offering 80% of purchase and 100% of repairs, right? And that's where you get to the loan to value, the loan to cost issue that a lot of people don't understand. Whereas you're offering a true 70%, these guys are offering 62%.
Right. And I'm not saying that, again, everybody has a place. So I'm not saying that we're far superior or less superior. I'm saying
you don't have $1 billion. So
right.
At some point, there's other guys that are feeding other markets. You're not at everyone's doorstep. So there's a marketplace for it. But in that marketplace, I would call you guys the Mercedes-Benz of hard money.
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, so when people come to us with that, and they'll say, well, somebody offered me 2 and 10. It's like, what was it loan to cost?
Sure.
What was their minimum origination fees? What are their other fees? What's their processing fees?
Right.
We give that all line item out so you can calculate your profit margins. When you're shopping lenders, make sure you get the whole story, not just what you want to hear.
Well, and here's my other favorite part. Do they actually have the money?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many lenders in town that have pretty little offices. They got a bunch of salespeople. They look like the picture of success.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't how many investors have called us, hey, I was doing a deal with so-and-so, and we didn't have being able to close because they didn't have the money. I'm like, well, first of all, you didn't do a deal.
Right.
Because you didn't even get close, right? They said they could do it. Then at the last minute said, all our capital's out. One of our banks said no. I'm like, well, then why are you working with them in the first place? Oh, because they're, quote, cheaper. I'm like, well, if you can't get the deal closed, then are they really cheaper?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, we have about $60 million on the street of our own capital today. You've been to our office.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is just a bunch of guys.
Clearly a
their
$60
hair is
million
skewed.
Yeah. When Rob said you guys are like the Mercedes of lenders, that my first thought that ran through my mind is the inside of y'all's office. I'm like, yeah, that's a Mercedes-Benz.
It's
right
like
there.
a 76, the yellow one.
Yeah.
That was when Chrysler took over, right?
Yeah, that's what Christ. You walk in and go, this is a successful lending price? I'm like, yes, this is what
That's
it
what
looks
it literally looks like, right? Not the guy in the Galleria who's just can't afford his rent, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't spend money on that.
Yeah.
The best thing we did was we rented an office in the Texas Real Estate Center.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
our biggest thing because we're like, wow, look how beautiful this
Yes,
is.
it is very nice. Yes.
I got to tell you, it is kind of funny walking into our office, and our office is really nice. And I'm like, this is so different than our philosophy for everything else. But I'm like, well, it's not really for us, right? It's for everybody else, right? So it's like, kind of makes sense. But yeah, anyways, back to that point where, yeah, how many people are actually really doing deals in this business, call themselves hard money lenders, but don't really have any capital to deploy?
Yeah. So what happens? There's certain metrics that we use that I don't think are taught regularly, but on the flipping side, it's really your cash on cash.
Mm-hmm.
So how much money do I have to lay out to make, right? And then you're going to look at a lot of places like, hey, I got to have $60,000 liquid, $30,000 for closing, and another $30,000 for repairs. So you're asking me for my reserves to make 20?
Right.
Why would I do it? And so you've got to work with, we are always looking for two things: deals and money. And we want them to be as low as possible. And so when you look at a true value lender, you're going to bring less money out of pocket. Everyone says 70%, but it's always the catch, the loan to cost to the loan to value. So you got to be really aware of it. And Jet doesn't play that game. So they're straight up loan to value. What's the phone number again?
It's 281-87-7800. And you can do everything you can imagine on our website. We can chat on us. We've made every opportunity for you to do everything online, so make it easy for you.
Great. What's that website?
www.jetlending.com.
Excellent, guys. Hey, thanks for listening today. We will be back tomorrow night. Appreciate it. Short little break here, and then we're out. Thanks.
We doing another show or
Yeah,
not?
let's do another one.
Okay.
You got time?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
$2,000 for Goodnight Moon with the dust cover.
What?
Yeah. 1947.
It's just like that one guy, that kid that bought a bunch of toys and never opened them.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I had a buddy who was a sneaker collector, right?
Mm-hmm.
Won the rock and the stock, so he'd always buy 2 pairs. He just has a huge cabinet full of
What did I say? Just on Jordans and stuff?
Jordans, yeah, just Jordan, over and over. One rock, one the stock.
I can't believe what people pay for those shoes.
Yeah. I don't get it.
How rich is this kid?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
funny thing is, the Nike base is built for like a narrow foot. A lot of people shouldn't be wearing them.
Oh, I've had that problem with Nike. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had a problem. Not until they came out with the 4E that I ever get comfortable with Nike.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. So everything looks like you guys are rocking out. It's looking good.
Try
You
it.
like that deal we sent over?
Oh yeah, that's a
Wait for that appraisal to come back.
That's pretty sweet,
And
isn't
a
it?
10 cap.
They were all because that's what I was telling them. I was like, they're buying this off a 10 cap. It was like 9 point something, but I was like, so
Yeah.
it was like I was like, so it makes sense. And I said, if they Section 8 this.
Yes.
Oh, it's gonna
That's
kill
the
it.
brand and
Yeah.
Dump it.
I mean, so I was like, that's what because I didn't know about the deal. I said they should Section 8 this. Someone has
For
to tell
sure.
them that. Tell them that.
Did he tell you about what the rest of the deal we're going to do?
No.
We're going to separate them out and sell them individually.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so we have the replotter in we can go.
Because you can do that with that.
There's
We've
about
already
4 of
yeah.
them we can do it with.
Yeah.
We're going to have to hold half. Because there's not enough egress for some of the lots. Setback, not enough setback. Well, if we get rid of the ACs, we might have the setback lines.
Oh, if we move the AC?
So we just do the wall mounts.
You
We
guys
get
should
rid of that.
fence it, though.
Yeah, fencing
Yeah.
it's on the budget. I
It's on
had
the budget,
45,000 on the.
Okay.
Welcome to the Texas Real Estate Radio Network with Mr.
Well, let's talk about that deal.
Jason
Yeah.
Bible and Mr. California investor Robert Orfino. Join us as Jason and Robert talk about the hottest real estate market in the country, the entire state of Texas. Learn why Texas is such a great market to invest in and why it could be strong for years to come. Get ready to talk all things Texas on your new home on the way to the office. Texas Real Estate Radio.
You know, a lot of people ask us, like, hey, can I just come, like, shadow you guys for a couple of days? And I'm like, you don't understand how our day is actually pretty boring. I mean, it's not. Everybody thinks it's HGTV all the time. I'm like, it's not really. It's me standing there looking at a computer, Rob yelling at somebody on the phone, or yelling at Christine in the.
I don't yell at Christine. Never yell at Christine.
He doesn't yell. I mean, he just like
no.
he's like,
money.
no. She doesn't yell at her. He just goes, hey, I need this number.
Yell.
Yeah, it's redneck paging.
The phones are coming. All right,
Yeah,
the
we're
phones
getting-
are on the way.
We're getting a phone system for the office. But anyway, so folks are always like, yeah, I'd love to come by and see what you guys actually do. I'm like, no, it's literally me and Brian staring at the screen in my office, and then Rob kind of screaming and yelling on the phone and all that. So, but we were talking about deals during the break, and I can't wait till we can bring in the reality camera crew where they see, like, when we're talking about deals and stuff, we can piece together a show every week.
Maybe you can put the link up there. Part of our Patreon account, there's 3 levels, 10, 15, and $25. At the $25 level, we're going to run a live stream camera in our conference room and just turn it on when we're actually doing business meetings and planning sessions. We're like, hey, man, for $25 a month, you can actually see how we run our business. There's no secret here. It's just I throw something out there and I get really convoluted, and Jason, whoa. Is there a better way to do this? And then we just go through that whole process, and at the end of it, we come up with a plan and we walk off and we shut the camera. So for our Patreon members, you're going to get to see that. Our conference room right now doesn't have carpeting. Just got the glass walls up. We've got to do some stuff, but why not?
Yeah.
Just why not? Our stuff's all there anyway. We're talking about the deal that so I'll give you the sort of metamorphosis of that deal. So we're in a mastermind. We're doing our mastermind. And one of our mastermind students says, hey, something just popped on the market. I said, what is it? He says, it's weird. It's 24 units over 9 lots. I'm like, okay. And he's like, so let me go. And he's like, but I think we can get these things at like $50,000 a door. Like, well, that would be great. $50,000 a door is a great target for Houston. So we call the agent. We go out there. We do our diligence. We walk in. We're like, these are in a lot better shape than we thought at $50,000. What we've previously bought at $50,000 a door. So we lock it all up, put the earnest money down, and we're trying to figure out what the exit is. And we're trying to maybe a little too clever. We're like, hey, we syndication, we can raise 50% equity and do this stuff. And then our student comes back and he says, hey, I think we can sell off these individual lots or a portion of them to other investors, and we'll just run a small little HOA. I was like, well, that's pretty brilliant.
That's a good idea.
So now instead of a 5-year hold, we're going to cut that down to 2.5 years and get really what Jason and I always want. Our whole purpose of being in real estate is free and clear real estate. Right? So we can really work this deal down, so that we've got 5 units at the end of the day that are free and clear. So we got 24 and then another 2, so 26 units. All the work we're doing just to keep 5 free and clear. And then so we looked at it and we talked to different banks and, they're great rates. And then like, hey, we don't feel comfortable with syndication. Hey, the voting rights, we're going to see the PPM. Meanwhile, we're on the clock.
Yeah.
So then I walked into the office and I was like, forget it. Call Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Trigg over at Jet Lending. I sent over, and the deal is as solid as it can be.
Yeah.
And if you actually go out and look at those are really good shape. They need a roof. They need air conditioning. They need paint and some upgrades, but it's not like we're doing reframing or any of that stuff. So we bring it to you guys, and what do you guys do with it?
So
you guys being Jet Lending.
So Jet, we saw one. I mean, we already know how successful and bright Rob and Jason are.
Oh, thanks.
But we still took the deal and said, okay, let's make sure we protect them and protect us. So Johnny, Eddie, Rob, and I look at the deal. We do all the math and we see if we come up with the same stuff. And it's like, not only are these, we calculate a little bit less than $50 a door, but we're like, these are great. And I was like, and we were like, well, are they doing? And we all said the same thing. Section 80 in these, are they doing this and stuff like that? And they're like, they're already saying they're doing this stuff. It's like, this is a no-brainer deal. This is something. Just give them, let's lend to this.
Yeah.
But we all do it separately to make sure are we seeing the same thing, and that happened in 24 hours.
So you guys have an internal loan committee would be a way to describe it, right?
Right.
Yep.
But it's not like as stuffy as like a board. It's
No,
just 4
I get
guys
it.
in the
Yeah,
office
I
that are making sure you're okay.
I got there's no golf outing. I got
Yeah.
to drop $500 for a hole at, right?
Yeah.
So so then we say, okay, well now we can accelerate everything. So everyone's happy. Looks like we're going to close fast. We're waiting on the appraisal to come back. I think that thing will appraise when it's repaired at $85 a door. I think we'll be solid for $80-85 a door, which will be, really where we think we're going to be. So we'll be just fine on it. And then we have, folks in our mastermind who are like, I can't do this deal alone. I don't have all the moving pieces, but I look at something and I say, this is a deal.
Right.
I know it's a deal. It smells like a deal. I'm not there yet to execute. So we drag him along.
Right.
And then another one in our mastermind says, well, look, we've money coming out of a deal. If you guys need some capital on that, because, we usually got to bring a little skin in the game. We've got to have the raw up front. Then all of a sudden we've got 2 people in our mastermind that are interested. We have the capital that we might need to get the construction going, to carry the payments, and to roll out this. And then we have a lending partner with Jet who are going to be like, hey, yeah, we see the same numbers that you see. And then we have a fourth party appraisal, fourth party coming in and saying, yeah, the number's verified, and we're able to move forward the deal. So critical to have not just the money, but the eyeballs, right? That's a really, really important piece to all this.
And I think one of the things you just said just sparked something in me. I'll get people say, like they're shopping. they'll say, well, this company doesn't require an appraisal. Why would you not want a snapshot in the future of what your buyer or what your refinance is going to look like? Stop trying to nickel and dime your deal on an appraisal and get the numbers right.
Right. So So we're going to go through that a little bit because your appraisals are holding up a lot of things. It's just a lot of refis happening. And if you don't understand that, let's cover that next segment. We'll finish up this deal. So we think we can go in. We think there's an easy 4, maybe 6 of the 9 lots that we can subdivide and sell. Right? So get them up there, get them at Section 8. I'm going to say by the time we're renovating and going, which will be early spring, $1,000 a door for Section 8. That'll be pretty clear. We'll put the fence up. We'll update it. It'll look great. Meet all the requirements. So then we've got these little 3 units at $3,000 a pop that are worth $320, $350. So all of a sudden we're right in that 1% close enough that we think that investors will come and want to buy those 3 units. And then we sell off 5 of the 8 packages, and we keep the other 3 ourselves and roll that into long-term financing.
Yeah.
And then rinse and repeat until balls are rich, right? Just keep doing it until you're done. But you can't do it without folks that can help you on someone to bring you the deal, someone to bring some extra cash, and then someone to sit down and be a lending partner on that. So that makes that deal super sexy for Mr. Texas Real Estate.
Yeah. No, the only thing is, I don't think you'll ever be done. I think you're going to find.
You guys keep saying that. I'm just telling you, man. Call of Duty, man. It is calling my name. No, hey, this is Robert and Jason, and our good friend Alex from Jet Lending. We'll be back.
We just do,
you guys aren't going to.
He's not going to stop. I'm stopping. I am stopping.
We can't be running a show on Stitch, like playing on the PS5, and then we'll have like a real estate channel going at the same time. Like, hey, man, I got something for you. I'm like, hold on, we're almost done with this match. We got a 200-unit apartment complex. All right, let's get it real quick.
I can see that happening. I don't think you guys will ever stop buying.
No, I'm going to stop.
Oh, man.
I told these guys a story. I'll tell you the story. God. Back in the 90s, I used to live up in Boston. I loved it.
I used to live the Green Line.
Right? Yeah, me too. Yeah. We lived up right at the end of the Green Line in Somerville.
I was in Alston.
Cambridge. Oh, yeah. Alston's great. And all my friends were musicians. And I made a crack on one of the guys, and he stepped back and said, hey, I don't see you playing guitar or doing anything. And I had never played guitar. And 2.5 years later, I played my last gig. I said, I want to get to a room where the bar's packed, and I'm playing 12 of my own songs.
Right.
And I got up on stage. The bar was packed. I played 12 of my own songs. My buddy's like, hey, we should do this next month. I'm like, I'm done. I just want to get to this moment. I'm done. He set a number out there, $30 million free and clear real estate. We hit that number. I'm done.
You're going back to the guitar.
I'm going. No. I might be a history professor. I want to open up a little lunch truck. Whatever it is, the next thing is the next thing. No, I know. I don't want to drag on. I want to. There's a clear number. We got to get to $180 million. Sell half. Give $30 million to our partners and investors. He takes 30. I take 30 free and clear. We're ultra rich, and that's it.
Yeah.
My cousin's still a professor over at Berkeley School.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jazz vocals and trumpet.
Oh, a lot of my friends went there, yeah. Yep. Hey, we're ready. I think too many people get into this business and don't have an exit strategy.
You're right.
And what happens is they keep riding that wave, and that wave crashes. So now they're riding it down, and they don't understand what's happening.
I saw that with a bunch of guys. I really need to get this guy in the studio, but he doesn't want to do this publicly. So
right, yeah.
I'm going to have to interview him at some point. And he said he'd do it. We just haven't been able to set it up. But at the time, he was one of the largest single-family landlords in Houston. And it all came tumbling down in 2008. And if it held on, he was able to hold on through the crash.
Another $500,000, right?
Yeah, and I think he said he'd be up 20 million, 25 million, something like that. And he's having to rebuild the whole thing. But there comes a point when it's like, hey, it's time to cash out. And what people don't understand is it's not the market, it's the leverage in the wrong marketplace. It's too much leverage at a time when you should be deleveraging. So yesterday's market update, I talked about the biggest risk to single family real estate. I may do a whole show on that at some point. Mm-hmm. But the biggest risk is a massive run up on prices. That precedes a bubble when things get really speculative, right?
Right, and that's a big problem. A lot of people mistake a bear market for genius. Mm-hmm. That's a real problem. Look how great I am. I picked all the winners. No dumbass. The entire market's moving that way.
Yeah. Right. Well, conversely, in that bear, so we go from that bull market to the bear market, there's a big crash. You buy a bunch of real estate and you're like, look at me, I'm a genius. I'm like, well, no, because the market crashed. You bought at almost the bottom.
Right, yeah.
It's like,
I'm a Tesla genius right
here. The real genius is the investor that's able to navigate both those things at the same time.
Sure.
Like that, and that's really hard to do. So, well, then let's go back to this. Typically, when there is a crash in the marketplace, what's the first thing that goes? It's the money. Mm-hmm. The money people all evaporate. It seems like I throw a rock and hit a hard money lender right now. They're all over the place, right? Until there's a little blip in the marketplace, and then you're like, hey, where did Bob and Joe and Jim and Jill?
Right, where'd
they all go? They're now flipping.
That was called April.
Yeah, that was April. Yeah.
Where are these guys? Hello, is anyone there?
You were there.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, Facebook noticed starting at it was about into March, 1st of April till about June. Facebook got real quiet.
Oh my God.
I think Rob and I are the only ones that were on Facebook doing real estate stuff. I was like, wow, it's gotten real quiet around here. Where'd everybody go? Hey, what happened? Oh, times get a little tough. You guys lost it, huh?
Or maybe you never had it.
Or maybe, yeah. It's kind of funny. It was like all these folks that were slinging hard money, all of a sudden they're selling cell phones at kiosks in the mall. And I'm like, what?
What happened?
Where'd you guys go? Right. What? I thought you were experts in real estate. Anyway, so that's a whole story for another day. But yeah, it's you'll see it when the market really takes off is when you'll have a lower credit borrowers that are buying houses. That's been a telltale sign for decades. When that starts to happen, you're going to hear stories like this. Well, my girl that does my hair just flipped 3 houses and made $90,000 in 10 minutes, right? It's going to be, I was at a bar, I was chatting with my favorite bartender. In fact, we're going to do a little happy hour tonight at Poor Behavior if you guys want to stop by. But we're going to go hang out at Poor Behavior, and our favorite guy that runs the bar there, Jose, if he starts flipping houses and he's making like 100 G's a house, that's when I know.
Get out.
That's when I know. All right, guys, it's time to sell everything.
You're doing. Are you really?
Yeah, I'm doing exactly what you do. No, you don't. I'm selling everything.
I'm out. I'm going to be doing what you're doing. I'm going to be tending bar while everyone's losing money.
That's right. I'm going to be tending bar while everyone's crying in their drink. So I'm going to sell everything. Well, I'm going to sell everything and pay off all my debt. Like that'll be, and that will happen. That's a natural cycle. It happens every single time. So the big fear right now is there will be, I shouldn't say there will be, starting somewhere in 2023, 2024, you're going to begin to see rampant appreciation. You think real estate's hot now. 2024 and 2025 is where real estate's going to get real hot. And that's
in the affordable market.
In the affordable house, the sub at that time, 4 years from now, the affordable house market, our median home price should be above $300,000.
Yes.
Right now, I think we're at 260, something like that, 250. So we're in the 320s, and you're going to see those houses appreciate rapidly. And then at that point, I'm going to be on this radio program talking about, all right, when's the time to exit?
Yep.
Keep buying. And then it'll probably be close to 2030 where we say, all right, now it's time to liquidate everything, pay off our debt, and sit and get to cash, and let's wait.
Right.
The wait may be 18 to 24 months, but it'll be let's wait and see what happens next. But you'll be able to see it. It'll be real easy to spot because it's happened before.
Yep.
Happens every time. People who shouldn't be buying houses start buying houses. New construction starts to balloon. And then you start looking around and going, wow, there's a lot of really free, cheap money here. Mm-hmm. The 2024 election is over. Now we'll know who gets elected, right? Then what happens next? It's like we can ride this for another 3 or 4 years. Let's go ahead and sell, take your profits, pay off your real estate. You'll have cash producing real estate that's free and clear. You should have a few $1,000,000 sitting in a checking account somewhere, and you just wait.
Right.
And it'll happen. Now, here's what happens. In a big crash like 07, 08, and even the crashes before it, they happen fast. Meaning, well, I shouldn't say they happen fast. They started like 2005, 2006, and then hit rock bottom about 07, 08. But the time between the bottom of the market and the top doesn't last long. It's 12, 18 months. That's it.
Most people don't even realize they're in the slide.
That's correct.
Because they're too focused on what's in front of them right now. They're not looking at the market, right? Which is what we do every day, right? We're always looking at it. We have to. And so I think you'll start seeing that slide. It just becomes the affordability, right? When houses are no longer affordable in a marketplace that is only paying on average $60,000 to a household, they can't afford the debt to income ratio doesn't work anymore. That's when that starts to slide. And it switches over to a renter's market, and there's a whole bunch of other things that are happening. But unless you're watching the market daily like we do, like I said, it's not really sexy, and we're setting up the webcams for our Patreon members, but you're just going to see the same thing. Jason just scrolling through the financial news, right? And I'm yelling at contractors to get it done faster because it's a race right now. It's a race. If you want to see what growth looks like, come to our office.
I thought you said it wasn't sexy.
It's not sexy at all. It'll clearly put 60 pounds on you. So what you have to do is run. That's what we're doing right now. We're sprinting, complete growth mode. And we've been blessed to have good partners like Jet and a lot of investors that we're very, very happy with, good attorneys, good folks around us. And so we're able to fire on all cylinders to move forward because we know there's an end date. This goes back to my little thing. Call of Duty's calling us, right? But it's going to be at the end of this run, which should be, we think, probably 2024 is a good time. That'll be about 6 years for us, and we'll start pulling back. And if it's peak market, we're dumping our stuff at peak market. Man, that's a dream come true. That'll be
probably 28, 29. We hit, I think, close to 30 will be 2030 will be that peak market time. That's it. It's these markets. It's so funny because people are like, well, the stock market only does this for X number of years. And I'm like, no, this is the stock market.
No.
The real estate market runs in 18 to 22 year cycles.
Right, it's 20 years.
It's a much longer cycle. Now, to go back to Rob's point, here's the deal. It's run, and then you stop.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's the stop. That's when you're like, okay, I need to pick up a Call of Duty habit.
Yeah,
I got to pick up something because
right.
I'm used to just run, and then you got to stop, right?
Let it appreciate.
And then just let it appreciate, and then at what point do you start selling? So now I'm not saying we're going to get the market timing exactly right, but I think we'll be within 24 months where we can say, I'll tell you, the best deals we ever did were the ones that we got really close to closing. They were like, I don't have a good feeling about this. It's just too tight. We walk away. And then sure enough, it was a terrible deal, right? And you'll get that feeling as you get closer.
It's Robert and Jason, our friend Alex from Jet Lending. We'll be back. Yeah, another 3-year run. We do close to 30 by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So we'll go up by 50%, so we'll do 45 next year. And then we'll do another 50% growth on that. So we'll be sitting at probably 75 in year 4. And if we can get to that 125, then we're done. If we get to 100 million, buying 100 million year 5 of our business, then year 6 we'd stop buying.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All doable when you just look at everything that's moving along. And
when it becomes gambling is when you're going to be at risk.
Well, and even we look at what we built over the last 20 months, and I'm always, one of the things I'm cognizant of is I'm like, we could stop right now, so there's no reason to run up this huge risk profile,
right.
And do thin deals and stuff. It's like there's just no point in doing it.
No.
So, but everything we're getting right now is it's great, right?
Yeah,
so.
right.
The corporate stuff is real.
Dude, that corporate stuff's ridiculous, isn't it? You have our schedule of real estate, so you see all our stuff. Yeah, the corporate. I keep forgetting. I'm like,
down there. Oh my god!
I was gonna say, you can go ahead and turn it on. I keep thinking, I'm like, I need to send you all the stuff we're doing at Corpus. And you're like, I already got it. You have my schedule of real estate. You see all our financials. Yeah, you see our financials. So, it's like,
we picked up a condo on the beach for $150,000. We thought when it got finished, it's still being worked on because from Harvey, so it's just really slow, just distressed, bad management. So we went and bought it. We bought it, and we went and we bought. The agent said it'll be open for 2020. I was like, no way, 2021 at best. And so we got a 2-year loan on it versus a 1-year loan, but we bought it at 150. Right now, shells in that same place are selling for 229. That's a shell. And then when we do the appraisals, we do the BPO in that market. We're like, this is 389 when we get there, when we get exit. And I can't believe once it's all up and running, the development next to us is over $1 billion of real estate going up. So we're thinking maybe $429 for a 3-bedroom condo down there on the beach. We bought for $150. That's 60% on there.
Yeah.
And the damn thing will Airbnb for, I don't know, $60,000 for the summer. So we didn't have enough capital, and we were probably a little too reserved on that barrier island.
we should have bought all that stuff in that building. But I mean, that's also. I mean,
but that's okay.
Most of the lessons we're learning right now is we're too conservative, which I'm totally okay with.
Yeah, we're all right with that.
Yeah, it's like, because otherwise, if you're too liberal with your numbers, then everything looks like a deal. But being too conservative, it's so funny. It was like, we keep learning this lesson. We learned the lesson from Harvey, and I could see at the time. I could see it. I just didn't with my previous partnership and all that. I just didn't have the time to raise all the money and go after the deals like I do now. I would have bought entire neighborhoods on the west side of town. I just didn't. We didn't have the time because we were dealing with Harvey stuff and our education company and all that other nonsense. So there'll be another storm. There'll absolutely be another one.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I can tell you right now, I'm going to be down in Surfside Saturday, and I'm going to put together a mailing campaign, and I'm going to mail everybody at Surfside. I'm just going to keep it like, how many storms do you guys want to go through?
Yep.
Because I know there are people that don't want to buy down there. It's not going to surprise me in the least. That market appreciated 30% in the last year. Will not surprise me if it's going to be flat for the next 6 months. Like it just will.
For sure.
Yeah,
yep.
Because it got impacted by 2 storms. Yeah, and it's going to be the winter. And I'm like, now is the perfect time to go down there and buy some more real estate, right?
And I wish investors would heed what you and Rob are saying about, you don't live in Surfside.
Yeah.
You guys don't live down there. You don't live in Corpus.
No.
But you're finding your wealth goals in these areas.
That's right, yeah.
Stop saying, well, I don't live there. Go get your money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay. Find people to help you do a deal.
This is
a team to go and go.
So I always like to do I worked for this guy, Bob, for 15 years. Great guy. I'll have him on the radio at some point. And one of the things Bob is famous for saying is as compared to what? So when someone says, well, Jason, I don't want to buy there because I don't live there. I'm like, well, do you own Apple stock? Well, yeah, sure, I own Apple. So do you live in Cupertino? Oh, wait. In fact, that's a good question. Can you point to Cupertino on a map?
Yeah.
I bet you can.
I can.
Yeah, you can.
It's right next to the industrial zone. It's
That's
not
what
a
I
good
was gonna
place
say.
to be.
It's not great.
It's not a good place at all.
The coolest thing there is the UFO they built for Apple, right? Okay, so you're invested in Tesla. Can you show me where Fremont is at?
Yeah.
I bet most of you can't.
No.
So
Beautiful Fremont.
Exactly, right?
Oh, I'm talking about.
Why doesn't Elon live close to the office? I'm like, why do you think Fremont's
Why does he
not
take
there?
a private jet through the office?
Yeah. So anyways, it's the same thing, right? It's like when somebody says something, well, I don't like this about real estate because, then I just flip it on the edge and say, okay, well, why don't you, then is the same hold true for your stock portfolio? No, it's ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, well then what are we talking about?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's an excuse. Oh, I see what we have here. It's an excuse not to take action. Because if you have all these excuses, you can't be accountable.
So I'm sure you come up against this a lot. We love Quest. We love self-directed IRAs, solo 401ks. We love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all great.
We love it. But I once got a private lender who called us and said, "Hey, I do private lending. I'd like to sit down with you guys." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you like to lend on?" Go through the whole thing. And he said, "I like 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, brick buildings." I'm like, "Huh, what? Who's doing those deals?"
Right.
I'm like, "You tell me where those margins are on those. Who's doing that deal? Where are they finding them? Because I need to go buy some of those myself."
Yeah, my favorite is I really like 77449. Like I really just want to invest in that area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I did too, and I did 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, right?
But it's kind of over at this point.
Well, the problem is, and again, we go up against this all the time. It's like that guru who told you that information is 5 years old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go get your $25,000 back, man. That's not happening in this market anymore.
Jason, I heard that the Heights is hot.
Good place to flip.
Good place to flip, and we're going to go, but we want to do some buy and holds there first. I'm like, yeah, your information's about 10 years old.
Right.
So, well, it's going to be funny.
I know there's guys that run like their best of radio shows a lot.
Oh, the same
Some
ones
of the
over
stuff
and
is
over.
like really old,
Yeah.
so maybe they're listening to that. Who knows?
So those apartment gurus that are like, well, we could go and buy them at $15,000. I'm like, yeah, in 2005.
Right.
Everybody seems to forget that was 15 years ago.
Right. It doesn't seem like it does.
It doesn't. Yeah, it does. It seems like it's right around the corner. I'm like, that was 15 years ago.
So I've had many a conversation with private lenders who lay out all what they want. And I'm like, why would I do that? Jet's cheaper and less fees and less restrictions.
So, here's the other thing, too, is the way I look at money is any of this stuff in real estate's a relationship. And I like talking to some of these lenders that are like, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want that, and I want this. And I'm like, And I'll sit there and I'll say, you're married, right? I go, yeah, I've been married for a gazillion years. Great. So what do you think I want from this relationship? And it stops them cold. They were like, oh, you want my ha-ha-ha. And I'm like, that's not what I asked. What do you think I want out of this? Because you just told me everything that you want. And then I'd sit there, and of course, if they've had a couple of drinks, they make some other smart comment. And then I would ask them, so when you went out on that first date with your wife, did you give her this list too? Because I don't think you did. And it gets real awkward, right? And I'm like, exactly. So do you want to do business or not? So let's come to some mutually agreed understanding about how this is going to work. You're just not going to dictate to me your terms.
Yeah.
I wish there's a reason why money is called a vehicle. And I wish people would start taking the heed to that. And you can either get to your destination by slug, a helicopter, a plane, a walk. You could take a bike. Either way, you get to your destination.
Right.
How is this vehicle and how you made that deal together getting you to the destination?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your destination?
Yeah. Well, and so many people don't have that destination in mind. So it's this constant meandering between, the stockbroker show, which you guys are probably catching the tail end of our show. So you're going to listen to the stockbroker show to how to get rich and options trading. But then you'll listen to real estate. And then you're like, well, have you ever figured out exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, here's the telltale sign for me. Ultra wealth in this country starts at 30 million. If you do not have a net worth of 30 million, you get off your butt and get to work, because that's where real wealth starts. Mm-hmm. So at 30 million, then you can look at the rest of the world on what you should be doing. However, I will tell you this. Folks that are worth 30 million typically have a ton of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A ton of it. Yeah. And if you take out all the folks that started tech companies and all that other stuff, it's mostly real estate people. Mm-hmm. It really is. So we get back from a break. We'll talk more about real estate. It's Jason Bible, Robert Orfino with Alex at Jet Lending.
Anything you want to talk about at all?
No, I'll do like the jet thing at the end and stuff like that.
Let's talk a little bit about EXP, because I got an EXP thing tonight.
Yeah. What you got?
They're going to have downs.
Yeah, not downs. He's cool.
Yeah,
and he knows everybody.
He's going to start recruiting down there, yeah. So we're looking at a broker and a pretty feisty little agent.
I have it. So I'm developing a couple different softwares that really, really make it easy for our borrowers at Jet. That should be done.
Oh, good.
In about a month. So I've had like 9 different projects that I've been developing, and they're all about to come to head. Nice. So after that, I'll have a little more time, and probably going to not really, to be honest with you, probably the end of quarter or early quarter one where I can actually start focusing on it.
Quarter one is going to be great.
Yeah.
I think people, if we don't have a second wave.
It's the last one.
Last segment, got it.
Go.
All right, this is the last segment, Jason. So let's try and monetize this while helping people.
Oh, we got a little inside joke later.
So,
I will tell you right now, we're not doing this show for any other reason than to make money.
yeah,
I'm telling,
deals
like, there's
and money.
deals and money.
That's
This is
what
not
we're
this
doing
is
for.
not altruistic. This is deals and
We're
money,
sorry.
folks.
Yes.
We are in a business show, right? This is a business show. We're here to make money. I'm here to give back. I'm not. I'm just telling you straight up. I'm here for deals and money.
All right.
Let's just be honest about it. So,
All right. So, we've done really, really well. We are super blessed, and everything's great partners, great investors, great lenders, great team. I mean, we were able to pick up some really strong people on our team.
Mm-hmm.
We feel really good about. We have a new person joining us next month. Everything's going great. If there's one regret we have, it's we kind of laughed at Brant Phillips when he came to us 2 years ago about EXP. And we even sort of mocked him a little bit. So when the stock was trading around $7, right? So we were kind of making fun of him a little bit. And if
I
we
think
have,
the deal with Brand is he's just such a terrible sales guy.
oh my God, he almost
So
unsold
bad.
me. He almost
So
unsold
bad.
me. I was like, stop.
If you ever want a really good sales guy, hire Brant just to tell you, like, hey, this is no pressure.
No,
I can do
sir,
this.
you can do anytime you want. No, I'm done already. Anyway, so Brant to come to us again about 3 months ago. Yeah, about
3-4 months ago.
July, yep. And he said he had talked to you, Chris and Brant talked to you, and they came over and they said, hey, look. And the funny thing is, we are having meetings with you over at Jet.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we're walking in, those two guys are walking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
like, hey,
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I was like, hey, what are you boys doing here? And they're giving me this like sheepish little look. You know, all I have to do is ask. Like, I'll know exactly what y'all are up to. And of course, Brant trying to be all sneaky, look, you know, because Brant and Chris both. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think those guys have even egged a house in their lifetime, right? They're not exactly like
pretty straight guys.
they're very straight and narrow. I'm like, what are you guys up to? They're like, oh, do it. Run out to the car, get in the truck, and leave. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
But what happened was they brought you, Alex, into EXP.
Right.
And that was very, very exciting. And so when you came in, we said, okay, let's revisit it. Revisited it. And this time, I actually did the research.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't need those guys to go through like Brant so wanted to give me the presentation. I looked at the 3, possibly 4 revenue streams. I said, oh, this is no-brainer for us. Because we were spending a lot of time trying to figure out how we can make money by having agents and having a team. And the company we were with, the split wasn't big enough. And so we were losing people. And all the people wanted to do was just wait around and write contracts for us. And that's not what we are about. We want everyone to perform, on their own merits. So Brant and Chris came, talked to him. He said, hey, you got to take me to these guys. I was like, okay. Night before, I went through the presentation.
That's a nice way to put it. He's like, God, I don't want to have this. He was complaining for like 2 days.
Right.
Like, he'll be fine. Just sit in this meeting for like 5 minutes.
The night before, I do my own little research. Not quite to 1:30 in the morning, but I was up. They came in, and I'm like, all right, tell me how this works and tell me how this works. And he's trying to go through the whole thing. And like, we're like Target. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that. Tell me about this.
Tell me these 2 things.
And he's
just
like,
so many know.
yes. He's like, it is captive. You got to basically go from box to box to box.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I was like, now tell me about how many shares you're actually awarded on some of these milestones. And he gave me a rough estimate based on the value of the stock at the time. And I said, okay, I'm in.
Right.
And he said, well, let me tell you about Glenn's. No,
stop.
No, I'm good.
And then he
I'm
talked for like another 20 minutes. And Rob's like, you're about to unsell us.
good.
Just shut up and we're done. Why we don't need an hour for the meeting. Let's just be, we're done.
Right.
And he was like, are you sure? Yeah, we're done. We got other stuff to do.
We're totally good. And so far, Jason and I are not licensed agents yet, but Catherine is, and she's in, and she has about 10 people underneath her. Commissions are great. They're better than what we had previously. She also has gotten about $1,800 worth of free stock, which is phenomenal. And then, or free or discounted stock, I should say. And this month alone, she's making another $300 override on people underneath for doing nothing.
Right.
We looked at it and we said, hey, this is a good deal. And then Brant actually showed us what he did over the last 2 years of EXP, and that really set us off.
Yeah, he's like, hey man, he would start texting me. He's like, he's taking pictures of his of his personal, how much he's made and all that other stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm in. This looks pretty legit.
Yeah.
I mean, as an investor, I mean, you are gonna get the most sour milk face from people when you bring this up.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, if you're about business opportunities, increasing profit margins, stuff like that, why would you not listen to an opportunity? Go, oh, yeah, it's very experiment. It's like, just listen.
Yeah.
Get out of your way and listen.
Yeah.
And see if it's right for your business plan.
This is when we start having the station with some people, I'm like, hey, one of two things is going to happen in the future. And I don't want to be involved in either one.
Right.
You're going to either look back and say, oh my gosh, I should have gotten involved, or you're going to get insanely jealous and looking at how successful some people have gotten. But here's why I want to tell you this right now, because I don't want you to come back to me 5 years from now and go, Jason, you SOB, why don't you tell me about all this stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, you don't have to listen.
No.
I just want to be able to say, see, I told you so 3 years from now. That's all I really want to be able to do. See, I told you so, look how much money we made together, or see, I told you so, sucks to be you.
I always tell people, how do you make more money by doing the things you're already doing?
Yes.
I mean, why? You're like, well, I'm also going to add this on. You can't do what you're not doing now.
Right? Yeah.
You know, make more money doing what you're already doing.
Right. Yeah.
So for those who are listening, on Thursday night, on the third or fourth
week, something like that.
Yeah. And then the second Saturday. So just go to our website, mrtxre.com. MR is in Mr. TX is in Texas. RE is in real estate. mrtxre.com. Or text us at 281-401-9008. 281-401-9008. Just text EXP, and then we'll get you on it. So we're recording this on Thursday morning, Thursday night tonight. We're going to have I just do a 40-minute. These are the 4 revenue streams, and this is why we're doing it. And if you're with an agency that doesn't have at least half these revenue streams, you're missing out.
Yeah.
And we call that Club 45. You also get a chance to write contracts for Jason and I. We'll go through all the process on that. So if you want to learn about EXP, text 281-401-9008. And 3 times a month, we do some sort of presentation. Brent does his full, straight up, is EXP, welcome to EXP. And then twice a month, I do Club 45. And I'm going to say that the few agents that we have, I've already processed close to $5 million with us.
I can see it.
$5 million with us. So we have deals. We want to do them through EXP. We want to work. Jason, I don't have time to sit down and write up all the offers. We want to teach people how to negotiate and represent us. That's in Club 45. If you're interested in coming over. And then we just finally got our first agent down in Oasis County. We're going to get probably 3 more very quickly here. And I have at least $10 million in investors who want to buy Corpus. We will be running down there. So if you haven't looked at the EXP and you're a real estate agent, it's time to. If you're thinking about becoming a real estate agent, and you should, then you're going to look at EXP and work through that system. 281-401-9008. Text us EXP. We love it.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for bringing us in. So that was,
no problem.
Yep. And I think I think there's a magic spot at that 4th tier where you're going to get 11% overrides on people, which just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
And the key thing is at 40, where you get 7.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I don't. If you see the math, like real estate investing, just math. This is math, and it works.
That's why we call it Club 45, because we're trying to get to the 40
right.
Yeah.
to hold that and then have that the whole value chain for us. But where are you on your test?
I am.
Are darting.
No, I'm trying to remember. I'm half, 2/3 of the way through the little exams. I threw all the I literally can only take an exam every couple of 3 or 4 days or something. It's real stupid.
Hey, we'll be back. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tonight.
Cool.
That was it.
All right, thanks for watching, guys.